Καλησπέρα.
Γεια σε όλους.
Μία πέμπτη ακόμα με συνεντευξάρα. Στα αγγλικά θα γίνει αυτή τη φορά. Με την Κάρα Μέρφυ. Και νομίζω πολύ μιλήσαμε ελληνικά για αυτό το live. Άντε να κάνουμε καμιά παρενθεσούλα στα ελληνικά που και που, αν χρειαστεί.
So, out of respect for our new guest, we're going to be speaking in English for a while, for as long as the interview lasts. So, our latest guest is Κάρα Μέρφυ. She's a great professional in the drone scene. She's very active in communities, in cutting-edge technologies. So, let's bring her up.
Yep.
Okay, so you can unmute.
Hello, Κάρα.
Hey, how's it going? I accidentally had YouTube streaming, so there was some commercial, and I thought, what is going on? So here I am. Yeah, this is great to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Nice to have you as well. We're very excited to talk to you. It's actually the first time we're talking over the phone, let's say. First time we're seeing you.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
Talked so much online in the past few years, and now it's finally nice to be somewhat face-to-face, even if it's for... Hopefully one day in real life, right?
Yeah,
we were hoping to go to the USA before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
I don't know. But this is as close as it gets right now.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
why don't you tell us a few things about yourself, what projects you undertake?
Sure. So my name is Κάρα Μέρφυ. I am based in Michigan. I am a remote pilot, a writer, and an artist. In no particular order, I balance all three. I mostly take up local gigs. So I'm a full-time mom to a 10-year-old daughter. So I'm working with the local tourism board on aerial photography and videography. I also work with other local businesses. Before the pandemic hit, I was talking to a few people about some national drone work, traveling nationally, but right now I'm just happy working locally. I write for DP Review. I have another meeting tomorrow with a major site that I can't talk about yet, especially since nothing is finalized. It's just a meeting. And I also sell my art on a site called Aerial Print Shop and now as NFTs. But yeah, anywhere in Michigan or the Midwest, if they need aerial work done, then I usually go and provide that, as well as contributing my writing skills. So that's me wrapped up.
I think somehow your microphone is being
Blocked or something.
Oh, shoot.
So
can you not hear me at all?
We
can hear you,
hear
but
you.
it's somewhat muzzled.
Yeah.
Wait,
now it's much better. Yeah.
Oh, now you can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
We could hear you before, but it was a bit,
somehow muted, somehow very bass voice.
Huh.
Now it's okay. Now it's perfect.
Now it's okay. Now it's perfect.
Yeah,
Yes.
So did everybody get that, or should I go again?
I think we heard you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
But it's such an evolution from print shops to NFTs. But we'll go back to that a bit later.
Yeah.
Yes,
We just want to hear the story first, how you started, what made you try drones and say, I'm going to have a business with it.
Well, yeah, so I never planned on having a business with it, to be quite honest. On the side of working in tech, I used to photograph live musicians, and that started in 2009. I had bought a Canon PowerShot, just a cheap camera, and I was just taking photos for fun. And then I was at Coachella with a few friends, and the person who got us into it...
Sorry to interrupt you. I think the microphone does the same thing again.
Maybe something with your hand over the laptop?
Yeah.
No, there's nothing going on over my laptop.
Perfect. It's perfect.
Oh,
now.
Okay, yeah, no, I hear it too. Well, anyway, so we were at Coachella, and a friend of ours was working for the alcohol distribution company. So we were in the VIP section and up pretty close to the stage, and I used that PowerShot, and I took some photos of the Yeah Yeah Yeahs and other artists on the main stage performing. And a local music publisher in LA was hanging out with us, and she liked the photos so much that she said, hey, come to Wanderlust with me and, just for fun, help out. And so I had a few guys who had, guy friends who had DSLRs and glass, and they lent it to me. And the photos I took ended up being purchased and used on Wanderlust site. So I thought, oh, well, here's something, just like a side gig. It's fun. I love photography. Fast forward about 5 years later, roughly, and I was at Pitchfork Music Festival in Chicago, and I was packed into the pit with a ton of other photographers. And I just noticed, like, my photos were looking the same as everyone else's, and I was just getting kind of not bored with it, but I thought, I'm not doing anything really that stands out or that's really unique. And so my friend Nate had posted a top-down image of Martha's Vineyard, and it was just a top-down shot of the beach. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. This is something I want to do. So I borrowed a friend's drone and crashed it, or maybe not crashed it, but lost it on the third flight. It was a DJI Phantom 1. And I decided, well, I need to just get into this, but I was too scared. And so I was in Iceland in November 2015, and just being surrounded by that beautiful scenery, that's what really just inspired me to get going and just throw the drone up. I took a few photos, people liked it. And from there, Drone 360 magazine asked me to write for them. Flying Robot International Film Festival put me on just to help with marketing and publicity. And then I went and worked with Drone Deploy. I got some Part 107 gigs, and from there it just kind of snowballed. So it wasn't exactly planned, but I was getting bored with what I was doing, and so that's where drones made sense. And I enjoy drone photography so much more because there's so many different angles you can get and different ways to compose something. So I've just stuck with it now since 2015 and still love it.
And it's quite easy to place your camera everywhere and capture every possible angle nowadays with drones. That was something very, very expensive, and you had to use a helicopter or something or a crane to do so.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It has been democratized, the whole aerial feeling of shooting.
But we hear very interesting stuff like Pitchfork Festival or Coachella. Yeah. It's something like a dream for us.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, living in the Bay Area, you get access to all these things. But, I've now that I'm a mom, I own a house, and I just I'm mostly my daughter's chauffeur. But I do get to travel here and there. But I can't really say that I feel like I've missed out on anything or have any real regrets. So that's always good.
Great. And since you mentioned you're a mom, and we're parents as well for the last year.
Yeah.
Pandemic parents.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
For us.
How is it?
Thank you. It's difficult still, but we have our parents close right now. So it's easier than before that we were through the pandemic all by ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for a woman as well, because I can finally understand how busy a woman can get once motherhood hits in.
Yeah.
And we have to balance so many stuff, the work, the life, cleaning and taking care of the baby.
Yeah.
And I can see that you're very active in the communities regarding women, including Women Who Drone and other drone communities, but especially this. And I wanted to ask if it's like I imagine it, if it's like the women in USA are much more involved in the communities and much more supportive of these communities, because in Greece it's not the same. We are a vast minority. We have I know at least 10 women in the whole, in 10 million people in Greece, flying drones at least professionally. But what do you think is the key in getting more women involved in the drone flying or photographing or filming? What have you learned?
I honestly think it's just being out there and being the example. So, I mean, I'm an extroverted introvert, and I'd rather just be sitting at home writing or maybe just being out on the field, taking photos, videos. But I actually started, I want to say recently, it's been a few months now, doing the Pixel Drone Show podcast. And I think
the
just
one
being
you
out there.
you just ended an episode of that just before this live stream.
Yes, I did. Yes,
Back
so
to
I'm
back live
back to
stream.
back
Back
and
to
just talking, but it's great. So I think I think there's a few components like being putting yourself out there because people are inspired by what they see. So if they see women out there with the guys recording a podcast or even teaching, like my friend LaQuada goes and teaches STEM courses. Next week, I'm going to be speaking to students for West New York STEM Hub. My friend Willard Schulmeister at Eagle Hawk actually invited me on again to do this. So I think just showing up when opportunities present themselves and just being that example so that other young girls and women see, oh, okay, well, here's someone out here doing this. I can do this. I just think having that visibility and having that representation is really important. And so that's why I really love groups like Women and Drones and Women Who Drone. There's two different ones. And I know Women and Drones do a series of podcasts where they talk to other women as well. And it's just really important to be out there and be active. And also, if any women contact me with questions, I'm happy to answer. And yeah, just also, there have been times personally and both online where I've defended and stuck up for other women because I think that's really important. Some guys can be, I don't say like kind of idiotic or rude or condescending and say things to women that they'd never say to other men. And if they, and I think everyone sometimes needs that backup sometimes. So I've done that a few times and made friends just defending a few people from these trolling type comments. And I think just being that type of person, when I worked in the... I'm so sorry.
No worries.
No problem.
I'm very sorry. Just turning that off. Okay.
Come on, guys. Who's calling here?
Yeah, I know. Anyway, what I was saying was, what was I saying?
That you stuck up for other women and made friends like that.
Oh yeah, sticking up for other women. Yeah. So just doing that and just being an ally. When I was working in the corporate world, sometimes you work with women who wanted to impress the higher ups, and I wouldn't want to say like stab you in the back, but maybe undermine you or talk to you in a different way. And I decided when I broke out on my own, I would never be that person who ever put down other women or tried to compete. I only compete with myself. And I'm always just the type of person that wants to uplift and support. And that's what we all need to do if we want to change the ratio and have more women join on is, be the person, be the example, basically.
Well, exactly. And this is the case in many things. Everything is STEM involved for women. And we can all learn from something. This type of living, let's say, it's something we can learn from. We can learn to be supportive. We can learn to show the way. We can learn to not be rude or think about twice before asking or saying something to anyone online, because they're actually a person, and even though you can't see them, this can actually have an effect on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I just hope that, I mean, there are so many incredible women that are doing way more than I am and just leading the way. And so I think if we just support each other's efforts, amplify them, I think we're hopefully going to go about getting more women interested in this. And those are the only ways I can think of.
this is great. But as everyone, when we first started, our first live episode was about our mistakes and what we learned from them. So I guess you had your kind of failures or something that went wrong, or any funny stories while working?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I have quite a few. I have crashed a few drones in my time, and I was actually testing the DJI Mavic Air 2, and I was taking some footage out in a tulip field, and I was with 5 other friends, and then my dad came along. I had cancer at the time, and he said, "Oh, I just want to come along, and I'll drive you out to Holland." It was about an hour from where I live. And he just wanted, to see me fly, and he wanted to meet some of my other friends that I usually fly with around West Michigan. And so a few guys came up and, were just talking to me and said, "Oh, can it do this and do that?" And, I lift my head for a minute and say, "Yeah, this is fine." I had the drone in sport mode, so the obstacle avoidance sensors were not working, obviously disabled. And so I had backed into a tree by accident, and the drone crashed. And I knew exactly where I was, exactly where the drone crashed. What I didn't know was that the owners of this tulip farm, they meticulously keep these tulips, and they called the police. And 5 of us were in a cul-de-sac, and then there were 2 other people flying drones on their property, and the police came and told the 2 guys on their property get lost, but they didn't see us. So I didn't realize that the police had just been there. But I thought, DJI lent this drone to me. I need to send it back. I need to get a new one so I can finish testing it for the review. And they're always good about overnighting it to media. But my dad and I drove over to the property, hopped the fence, and ran through the field. And in Michigan, in the state where I live, if someone trespasses on your property, they are completely within their right to shoot you. The gun, if they wanted.
This is America.
It's the US, guys.
If they wanted to, and in my state, they could do so without any recourse. So that was running through the back of my mind. I'm thinking, I'm out on a tulip farm. Very possible they could think I'm a trespasser, and it could go wrong. But we did anyway. I said, you know what? I'm running to get that drone, get that footage. And a friend of mine, Ryan LaTourette, was filming with his drone at the time, blissfully unaware of everything that was going on. He was in another location, and he got this beautiful footage, and he said, and he posted it to Facebook, and he said, there's some deer running in the background. And I said, no, Ryan, that's my dad and I. I probably just ruined a clip that you could have sold, sold to an agency. You probably could have gotten some money for it, but we ruined it by running after this drone. But we broke away free of incident, but it just reminds me, always keep your eye on the drone, on the screen. I was on site on a job yesterday at a hardware store, just doing some inspection work. And a customer came up to me, "Oh, is that a drone you're flying?" And I just nodded politely, but I wasn't going to turn and engage him in conversation while I'm flying around the rooftop in the building. And you just have to remember not to get distracted. And I always wonder, why some people just feel, hey, someone's focusing on something. Let me go talk to them and ask them all these questions. But
it happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens all the time. But yeah, that was an experience where I'm happy that I made it out alive or unharmed, recovered the drone, recovered the footage, sent it back to DJI. They were cool with it, and that was it.
Was this the time when you asked for some DJI FPV photos or something?
I'm sorry?
Case? Was that the time where you asked from me some FPV footage?
No, it was the Mavic Air 2.
It was a Mavic Air 2.
Yeah.
I did crash an FPV drone and DJI's FPV. So what I tell people about FPV is if you're not prepared for it, don't attempt it until you go into a simulator for at least a few months and work on it.
Not even there, simulator.
Pardon?
And not even their simulator, not even DJI's simulator, because we tried it and it was way different from
Yeah.
the actual
Oh.
stuff.
Acro is a whole other beast. You really need to know how to solder, how to work radio frequencies. And I mean, DJI's FPV drone is fine, I guess, but if you crash it, you are going to send it in.
Yeah.
And so I crashed one. I felt bad, but then I had friends at other publications. We talked sometimes, and they said, "Oh no, my rep sent me two. Happened to me. Don't worry about it." But yeah, I am going to do an exciting video project next month that I can't talk about yet. But and I had a friend of mine say, "Oh, you're going to do FPV if you're going to fly through these certain obstacles," and I said, "Probably not, because I'm just not prepared." And I don't. This certain place might have some live active ammunition, and crashing a lithium battery into it just wouldn't be good for anyone. So no, not going to do that. I do admire My on High. Lexi Jansen goes by My on High, and my friend Rue FPV. They are awesome. They
She's
practice
great. I've
for
seen a few
hours
videos
a
of her.
day. I admire what they do. But personally, I don't know if I just even have the time to get really good at FPV. But I admire the people that do it.
Requires a lot of
Certainly
free time,
challenging.
a lot more than the conventional drones that we use every day from DJI that have all the automation built in.
Hey, I love GPS and stabilization, and
Well,
you know,
exactly.
that's all good stuff. Especially, I mean, I consider myself an artist, photographer, videographer, and I really just want to go to those places and not worry about the drone drifting. Although sometimes it does. I was in downtown Chicago a few weeks ago, and I thought it would be cool to do a time lapse with the Air 2S, because I'm doing a time lapse article for DP Review, and I thought it'd be cool to do an overhead. There's a place where the subway tracks intersect. Wouldn't that be neat? Well, Chicago has just a lot of geofencing and weird things, and the drone was drifting into it flipped into Addy mode and it was drifting. The drone was kind of drifting around, and it was close to hitting a building, so I brought it back down, said no thanks. So I do appreciate the fact that when the drones hover in place, they can hover, and you can just focus on getting that shot you want. So
Exactly. And maybe it's
yeah.
for different people. Maybe FPVs are for sports, better for sports. And DJI's FPV is not very good for photography. Only shoots JPEGs, and it's not the best format to edit afterwards or make it large enough for a print. So in this case, we want to bring up the surprise questions we have.
Yes.
You have to choose between two options. So, what do you like to shoot best, architecture or nature?
I think it's close, but I do prefer architecture. My late grandfather was an architect, and so I think that's how I got immersed in it at a young age. And he was one of the first to adopt mid-century design and some of the more modern furniture. My mom grew up in Grosse Pointe, and she was always kind of horrified. She said, "Oh, everyone says that our house and the inside of it looks like the Jetsons," but he was way ahead of his time. It was all Herman Miller and Eames stuff. But just being surrounded by those shapes and objects, and just seeing him work, and just seeing how shapes and components all came together to create something, I think that inspired me early on. But yeah, I think my favorite recent photos, and the ones that I've put up on Foundation as NFTs, have been of Transamerica Pyramid, Salesforce Tower. I just did 2 Prudential Plaza from Chicago, and then I have another one coming up soon that I'm going to drop that's of 2 big Detroit buildings. And yeah, I do, but there are people who are disciplined and just stick to one thing. But I love aerial photography so much that sometimes you will see lakes or boats in there. And I've also taken an interest in astrophotography. My friend Juan got me into it. So he said, "No, we're gonna go take these shots. You're coming with me and my friends. Let's go do it." And so I like photographing the Milky Way. I have a new Sony A7 III camera, and I actually, driving around my hometown, there's some places that would make a good backdrop for street photography too. So I like exploring different areas. There are some people that specialize. I follow some storm chasers on Twitter. That's their thing. I admire that. Maybe it's adult ADD, but I do like breaking off into different areas and just exploring. For example, we have shipwrecks in Michigan. I like getting shipwrecks with drones too. It can vary, but I would say though definitely that architecture is my favorite.
Great. We are fascinated by nature, in case you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
But yeah, architecture. We don't really have great architecture in Greece. If we
Great
set aside,
I was just going to
great
say,
cityscapes. If we take the Parthenon outside the picture, because this is obviously great. So Acropolis in Athens is the best thing you can shoot regarding architecture, but not other tall buildings. Or there are many smaller ones, but the great ones are like 3 or something. So it's the same picture from many different people in Greece. And if you actually have to get a lot of traction on Instagram or Twitter, you have to post these 3 places that architecturally are somewhat appealing.
Yeah.
But creatively is very, very common and somehow boring sometimes. Yeah.
This is why we avoid it.
We have some questions.
Sure.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I like to take places that have been photographed a lot and maybe try to put a different spin on it, but or just try to capture it in a different angle that no one has before. And that doesn't always happen, but I think just developing your own signature style is really important, no matter what kind of photography you do or videography.
Exactly. This is what we are telling our viewers as well. If they're going to shoot in their neighborhood and there's nothing nice there and they think they can't do anything there, just try going closer or further away and see what you can get out of these perspectives.
Yeah, and some of my best shots weren't even pre-planned. I do pre-plan before I go shoot, but then sometimes it'll be a pleasant surprise that I caught this particular angle or got this shot or caught some light a certain way. So it's sometimes pleasant, and those have ended up being my best shots. So
happy surprises.
Yeah. Should we ask the questions from the people watching live right now?
Yeah.
So we have a few questions.
So,
Alive Move
On asks, hi Kara, what is the single one thing that keeps you motivated?
You know what? I think what keeps me motivated is knowing that I can always improve. That's a mindset I always try to have. And so I'm probably my own toughest critic, but no matter if I write an article or if I post a shot, I'll come back to shots that I've taken years ago and think, oh, I could have edited it that way. What also keeps me motivated is I have a whole bucket list of places that I want to photograph. And I think being able, and the community that surrounds all this really keeps me motivated, because for the most part, the drone community and the NFT community are really positive and encouraging. And some of the friendships that I've built along the way have really made all the difference as well.
Another one from Jim is, Kara, classic question, but what is your main drone?
My main drone is a Phantom 4 Pro. It has a mechanical shutter. It holds up in the wind. I have 2. I bought the first one in September 2016. I'm shocked that DJI has not followed up with the Phantom 5. I hope they don't discontinue the Phantom. If you're out on a boat or if you're in an area that, things are just really narrow or it's an uneven surface, it's the easiest drone to hand catch. It still holds up in the wind the best. So Phantom 4 Pro all the way, without any question.
So we had a surprise question for this. If you prefer actually Phantom or the Mavic series?
Oh, Phantom, for sure.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm trying to get rid of a Mavic 2 Pro, and not that I don't dislike it, but I lost a client because some of the video I took just wasn't as sharp as it could have been, and they were kind of ticked about it. It has the Hasselblad color profile. I'm surprised that DJI is, they own a majority stake in Hasselblad, and they've only put the color profile on one drone. But of course, they've been pretty much releasing all consumer drones anyway, since they acquired that back in 2018. So what I want to see from a forthcoming Mavic, or fingers crossed a forthcoming Phantom or Inspire, is let's put the Hasselblad color profile in these drones. I'm kind of shocked that that's still the only drone. That's the only real benefit, but people will argue with me. I have a group of friends in Chicago Drone Pilots group, that said, no, I love my Mavic 2 the most. It's the best. It can handle wind better. I will say, though, with the OcuSync, it does have a stronger signal. So if you are flying in an urban area, you're just going to get much better reception over there. But
there's major difference between our Phantom 4 Pro and our Mavic 2 Pro inside the urban area. But it's very, very convenient to have a Mavic, such a small drone.
Yeah.
But Phantom had a lot of pros.
Yeah, no, I just think that we need to get back to a drone with a mechanical shutter, an optical zoom. I think the DJI Mavic 2 Zoom is optical, but it's a 1/2-inch sensor. Can we get a 1-inch sensor with a digital zoom? An optical zoom? Like, is that too much to ask? I don't know.
Probably if they release their own lenses.
Next question. From Alive Move On again. Kara, do you believe that finally FPV drones will take over creativity? Consumer drones will become tools for producing only social media content?
Oh, so is the question, you think that consumer drones are going to take over with producing social media content? Was that what you were?
He's somewhat afraid that FPV drones are going to monopolize social media.
FPV drones?
Yeah, the kind of the shots that are very easy for anyone to look at.
Oh gosh, you know what? I follow AirView's FPV, but I don't follow the space too closely. I think there's Cola FPV. There's a few FPV pilots, NERC, whose work I really admire. I don't know if FPV is going to overtake the space, but I follow mostly photographers anyway, so it's not really on my radar too much. There's maybe 4 or 5 FPV pilots that I follow, and the rest are all videographers and photographers pretty much. And then I have a few friends that do mapping and thermal inspections, more technical people that I really admire as well. I know DJI and other manufacturers are trying to create these features where you can instantly share content on social media, and they came up with this master shots for the Air 2S, and I did not like that feature. You throw the drone up and then it automates it. It takes, it does the quick shot, the quick shots, the droney, the rocket, and all that, and they're all, I don't know. It didn't appeal to me. And first of all, I thought my drone was going to crash into a tree or into something else. But it's just not something that appeals to me. Maybe some people will think it's fun to immediately upload. I like to edit. I like to go through every photo and video clip I've taken, put some edits on it, see if it makes sense to even share. I personally am not worried about that, but I don't know. That's not my experience.
And we've been discussing this thing with Nestras the other day, because DJI released like 3 different modes and that's it. And they could actually create more so that the videos look different at least, or update them or do something new. Because if this is something that comes with a firmware or comes with the software provided, it's something that can change. it's something. It's directions actually that you give to the drone. So this is something that can easily change. But I think they have just given a few tools for the public to fly their drone during the vacation and have something ready for social media without trying to edit anything.
It's very weird because we had actually a live stream discussion about the whole connection of drones to the future of social media, and how mainstream could they become, and what features could bring on to the game for people to create something, to feel that they are creating something, using templates, using ready-made shots, ready-made modes, just like quick shots, and afterwards the master shots. We weren't very impressed too, but this model, this business model for DJI to approach newbies, to approach new customers on drones, that do everything. The drone does everything for you, even shooting it, even editing it, even posting it, everything. You just have to press one button. It may be impressive the first time you do it as a newbie. Okay, the second one a little less impressive, but the third one I think you will be bored as hell if you just rely on these features.
Yeah. They definitely lose their novelty pretty quickly. And, it's kind of surprising how they've been so focused on consumer grade stuff. And I say that because at least in the United States, the commercial sector is growing a lot faster, and the consumer sector is actually on the decline. Because if you think about it, a casual consumer is going to buy maybe a Mavic Pro and have it for 5 years and not think, oh, I need to get the Mavic Air 2 or the Air 2S, I need to upgrade. If they're just a casual consumer, they're not going to have it in their budget unless they're really wealthy to keep up. Whereas a professional is going to want the latest technology, the latest camera.
All the time.
So I'm hoping throughout the year that DJI plans on paying attention more to the consumer. And on Pixel Drone Showcast, the Drone Show podcast, we interview professionals all the time, and they're either using DJI or OTEL, but they're always adding to their fleets. They're always on the lookout for the latest technology. So that's where I hope these drone manufacturers really put forth their efforts. And I've seen casual consumers move into professional stuff. I'm an admin for drone community, and all the time I see posts where, okay, how do I get my Part 107? What's the best class for it? And is it hard to pass? I mean, I see so many of those questions, and there's just an increasing number of people getting their certification, whereas you see the consumer drone market not only stagnates, but it's also sort of in a decline too. So
exactly.
So I think we should ask the next question from the public, because it actually matches the next question I'm going to ask.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have one more question. Okay. This is a question from Panos Koutsis. Panos is actually the head, the admin, the founder of the biggest drone club, drone community in Greece, the Greek Club. And we are part of it too as moderators. And we are very happy he's asking this one, because we try to do a lot of contests to inspire people, to motivate people.
To keep them shooting.
Creative contests. So, Panos is asking, I read in the bio that Κάρα is a jury member of drone festivals. What are the criteria to choose the best shots?
So this is one I would like to ask as well. What is the thing that makes the work stand out?
And he adds any tips for our contests?
Yeah.
Oh, what did he add?
Any tips for our contests?
Oh,
because
any
he holds contests.
Well, I mean, I always tell people, make work that's true to you. Don't make work that, for me, selling prints or selling NFTs, I'm not going to go make stuff that I think is going to appeal to buyers. I think first and foremost, as an artist, you have to make work that really is an extension of yourself. That's what making art is really at its core all about. But as a jury member, I look for technical mastery. So is your video properly color graded? That's first and foremost, because I've seen some videos or photos that are interesting, or a video with a compelling storyline, but if there's areas of it that are blown out, or it didn't look like they color graded or put that much effort into it, or if it looks a little dull or flat, I might not favor it as much as a video that is color graded well, that is appealing to the eye. But I think with drone video, with the technology the way it is today, pretty much anyone can throw up a drone from a Mini 2 to a Phantom 4 Pro or Inspire 2 and capture beautiful footage, crystal clear, beautiful footage. What are you doing it with it, though? How is it holding my attention for the few minutes that you put this film together? What's the narrative? What's the art? Does it make me feel something? And there have been some wonderful films that have been submitted that I still think about to this day, and those are the ones I've selected. But what I want people who enter to remember as well is that there is a jury panel, so there's quite a few of us. And so when I look at the finalists, some of the photos and videos that I passed on made it to the final round because other jurors enjoyed it. So taste is subjective. We're all exposed to different things. So if you didn't get picked, maybe the juror already saw a lot of this type of style or this particular photograph. Maybe they've already seen it a lot, and to them it's not as novel anymore, but you can't take it personally. I have entered lots of competitions and not made it to the final rounds, and I'm okay with that because my work just didn't appeal to a large jury, or not a large jury, but several juror members, and that's okay. Taste is subjective, and that's what you have to remember, whether you're selling prints, entering contests, selling NFTs. Jurors, collectors, buyers may really like what you're doing, but maybe it just didn't connect with them as strongly as something that someone else put out. And a lot of that's just based on our own personal life experience when it comes to how things resonate with people.
So yeah, being true to yourself makes it worthwhile to showcase your art, even if it doesn't win an award.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's what's important to remember. I mean, when I first started droning, the most mundane things would impress me. Like, oh, I'm going to get a top down of all these cars in a parking lot. That's so cool how they look like tiny little colorful dots in the sky. And now I wouldn't post that because for me, it just, it's overdone. When I see a shoreline with sand and water, I think, well, that's been overdone. Like I've seen that so many times.
Yeah, I see that all the time.
Yeah. But for some people, that's new to them and it's exciting. So they're gonna share it, and they're making something that's true to themselves. So while I may be over it, for them and their audience,
it's still exciting. Yeah.
Do it. Yeah. But yeah, just make it for you. Like it's sometimes difficult to remember that, but make it for you.
Great.
Not for the appeal and the likes and the...
Experiment to become better, maybe.
Yeah. I think, sometimes you're under pressure. How many likes am I going to get on this? Am I going to get any new followers? What are people going to think? But you have to remember that social media also runs on algorithms, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. And you'll see stuff that isn't that remarkable, or that you think is that remarkable, get thousands of likes, and then you're sitting here at a few hundred. But you just have to remember, though, that there are certain people who will love it, and but it should just, if you love it and it makes you happy and it contributes to your mental health and it allows you to express yourself, then that's ultimately what's really going to matter. And I think kind of just having that genuine passion and that desire to keep exploring, to stay curious, and just keep pursuing what you want to do, and even try new things that make sense. I think that's really what's going to propel you forward if this is the path that you want to take.
What I wanted to say next was about NFTs, Because we've heard you talk a lot about it. Maybe some people don't know what they are, what you do with NFTs, what is the purpose. And it's actually so refreshing seeing people that use technology, connected technology like NFTs and drones and mix them together, create art. What can they do if they want to get into the NFT world?
Well, so an NFT is a non-fungible token, and it lives on the blockchain. So when you put it on the blockchain, you are the owner. And then if a collector likes it, and you put a price on it, collector likes it, they will buy it from you, and then they are the owner. They can sell it. And since it's on the blockchain, your original info is connected to it, so people know that it's yours. So it's kind of a form of copyright. You get a percentage of whatever that person sells it for. So that's kind of refreshing, because traditionally, if you sell a piece of art to someone and then they go turn around and resell it, you may not know about it. You're not going to see another dime from it. So that's kind of neat. And then I've seen, I mean, photography is just starting to become a thing. I think a lot of NFTs are pixels and cartoons and just weird collectible things that are being flipped. So people will buy like a CryptoPunk hat for maybe 1 Ether and then flip it for 5. I mean, there's trading. It's almost like baseball cards where people are trading things and buying and selling. But I think it's revolutionized the art world in a way where I think people, I'm looking at a lot of the stuff coming out of the NFT space, and it's more abstract and more daring. And I think, well, how can I make my work more daring? Because I've always, and for the past few years, I thought, I like the work that I do, but what can I do to extend upon or just build upon what I've done? How can I make it more interesting? And so the first NFT that I sold, I'm flying a drone in slow motion directly over a row of tulips, and just the way they open up in response to the downdraft is just kind of a reawakening and opening. And I sold it within 24 hours because it's just not something that's been done before. So NFTs are also encouraging me to break out of my comfort zone and try new things. But I see drone photographers listing their images. I see photographers they're putting up their images, and the collectors will get the original file and either print them out, or the seller will make a metal print for them as well, so they can collect the art in their home. It's a newish area, and there's still a lot to navigate, especially for me. I'm in a few Discords, I'm in a few Twitter spaces, but Discord is a platform I need to familiarize myself with more. I'm just kind of in this stage where I've sold a few NFTs, I've bought a few, and I'm just making friendships and just networking pretty much with people in the community, because it's just a group of interesting, like-minded people. So I know I went off.
This is really interesting because we have listed our NFTs, but we haven't socialized, we haven't met other NFT artists, and this is something that you have to do if you have to get yourself known. Be open and be social with other people.
Networking is half the job,
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I'm bad about this too. I got an invite to Foundation, and that's where some of the bigger collectors hang out. And so it's kind of a smaller community, but my friend Justin Aversano, who does the Twin Flames collection, he just invited me to his Discord last night. Those, if you look up Twin Flames by Justin Aversano, those are on OpenSea, and just you see what they're going for now. And good for him. They're gorgeous portraits. He stuck to a theme of taking portraits of twins over the years. Anyone can start on OpenSea. What I like about it is you pay a one-time fee to get started, and then that's why a lot of people mint. With Foundation, you have a minting price and a listing price every time you do something. I have not explored Rarible yet. Super Rare, you have to get an invite. I believe Maker's Place also is invite only, but there's known origin. There's a lot of different platforms, and I need to do this too, just explore, see what's doing well over there, and see where it makes sense to put specific pieces of work.
Mm-hmm. I think one interesting feature with NFTs is the unlockable content. The link that you give afterwards to the person that buys your stuff. Yeah. I've seen NFTs be used for ticketing, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
And I've seen people giving actually something fungible along with the non-fungible token.
Yeah.
So buying the non-fungible token is not just a way to resell it and make stuff, and actually own something from the creator.
I should have said that. First and foremost, you're supporting someone's art and you're enabling them to continue creating more art. I think that, so Kath Simard is a photographer that hosts workshops all over the world. She has she has her own signature style, but she'll travel to places like Patagonia and sleep for maybe 2 hours and then hike all day just to get to a certain area by sunrise or sunset. And a guy who goes by Cactux, he's known as Cactux, but his name is Vince. He was one of the initial Ethereum developers. She listed an experience to come to one of her workshops and go with her on a private one-on-one lesson. She would show anyone at any experience level how to shoot. So along with getting the image and a print of it, that person would also get that experience and travel covered to a certain extent. I mean, you have to be very specific with the terms as well. And I think it had bid up to 8 Ether, and then Vince thought it was worth 30 Ether. So that's what he put down, and that was the winning bid. So people that are thinking outside the box, so to speak, I hate using cliches, but people that are thinking outside of those terms, what else can I add of value that might entice someone to buy this? You're really, and it makes me think of how I'm marketing myself too, and my art. People are going to buy something based on the connection they have. So the second NFT I sold was my image of Salesforce Tower, and my collector said, "Oh yeah, I worked there for a few years in San Francisco. I love this image." He just had a real connection with it, and so
you never know when this real connection happens, and why someone likes something and how much he likes it, she likes it too, in order to buy it.
Yeah.
It's another level from the social media where someone gets connected with something in order to like it and be viral and share it and stuff. But in order to buy it, you have to dig deeper into someone's soul.
Yeah, into why he's purchasing this object.
Yeah, and now people, now artists are posting their images that appeared on National Geographic, and those are going for a lot too because people want a piece of that history. So I can't imagine what happens when, like, the guy who took Kate Moss's first image as a model. What happens when that gets posted? People want to collect that. So
yeah.
But I just say for people like me who didn't do anything like that, how are you marketing yourself? Like, what is someone going to feel when they say, I own an NFT from this person, besides just liking the image? So it really makes you think how you're putting yourself out there and what people buy from people they like. So that's why it's also important just to be a good internet citizen, but also be supportive, always be connecting with people and be nice and open. So that's really what it's
nice.
about.
Be nice, guys. Be nice.
Always be nice.
Be nice, yes.
Be nice.
And also as a surprise question, do you enjoy selling prints or selling NFTs? What is the most exciting thing?
Well, I've worked it to where when I sell prints, it automatically gets fulfilled by Bay Photo. I'm not crazy about the platform I'm on, so I'm actually working with a developer to get on Shopify and then just connect to one of the print shops. I like selling prints, but when I sell a print, half of those costs go to manufacturing and shipping it. Yeah. So, the order will get placed, but, I sell mostly metal, wood, and canvas prints. I always thought, I would be selling paper prints, but most people like metal because the colors are bolder, they're more vivid. I have a few wood prints up in my house. I like the aesthetic of it. But they're expensive. the manufacturers will charge you for it. So whenever I make a sale, if it's not a paper print, which isn't nearly as expensive to produce, I'll think, well, okay, about half of that is profit. Whereas an NFT, I'm paying a minting fee and a gas fee. So and the highest I've priced anything so far is half an ether. So besides the minting and gas fee, that's my only real expense.
So I'm guessing NFTs is much more exciting and much more profitable.
Yeah, no, but that being said, you are out there, you're putting yourself out there, and those NFTs are listed. The first two I posted, they sold within 24 hours, so I priced them right. But I have 3 now that haven't sold yet, but again, that's okay. It can take months, which is fine because, and I also have a special editions collection on OpenSea. And I had a friend reach out on Twitter the other day that said, I really want this, but right now I just minted some stuff and I don't have a lot of Ethereum. So people will look at your work and like it, but they won't be ready to buy it just yet, either because they don't have the funds or they're looking at something else or it's just not the right time. And the same goes.
Or maybe the blockchain is something new to them and they have to familiarize with it first.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, I've heard stories from collectors that, they say people will message me after I buy something and say, well, you got to buy mine. Why didn't you buy mine? And don't do that. Like, don't ever ask someone to buy something or ask them why. Unless if they're a collector, I did buy an NFT recently and the artist just minted something new and he messaged me and he said, hey, just thought you might be interested. That's perfectly fine. But I've had people message me randomly, oh, hey, did you get to check out my NFTs for the track? Like, what do you think? And I think, like if I buy something, fine, you please reach out to me with your follow-up work. Because yes, I may well be interested, but don't just randomly contact people and say, hey, what do you...
Even if you actually liked his work and would buy it eventually.
No, you would be put off.
Yeah. Be nice.
Yeah. Always be nice. Not everyone's nice, but that's okay. I've developed a thick skin, especially writing for DP reviews. Yeah.
So would you like to say a bit about your writing as well? You've been writing for major brands, for online publications. Maybe we could hear about this side of yourself.
And this is how actually we met you the first time.
Yes, we wrote an article about me on IQ magazine from Intel.
That's right. I love doing that interview with you guys because I'm so inspired by your creative work. I do like interviewing people. So some of my favorite pieces, right now I primarily write for DP Review and I just love it. The editors I work with are just the nicest people. And coming from tech where some of the people had really big egos for no real reason, it's just refreshing to work with people who are experts in their field that are really grounded and who are really nice. And I've learned so much from them. So writing right now for DP Review, I'd have to say, like recently, some of my favorite pieces have been ones that drive awareness. So I wrote, there was a museum that bought some prints from African-American artists, and then they put them in their exhibit, and they paid roughly $150. That's just wrong as a museum. You have big grants and
we lost the sound.
Oh, you lost the sound?
Uh-oh. Τα δικά μας τα ακουστικά δεν δουλεύουν. Just
Can you hear me?
Oh,
okay.
Άνοιξε το δικό μου. Πώς δεν έχει. Just a minute as we fix our headphones because we probably lost the battery is over for one of them.
Oh no.
Bummer.
Yeah. Θες να... Μήπως είχαμε άλλα.
Έχω...
Ναι. Ακούνε τα παιδιά, εμείς δεν ακούμε.
Ακούνε τα παιδιά.
Τα δικά μας τα ακουστικά.
Εμείς δεν ακούμε
It's our
την
headphones.
Κάρα.
We can't hear Κάρα. You can hear everything.
I can hear you guys.
Ωραία.
Ωραία, άλλαξε και το... Okay, we're back.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, perfectly.
So anyway, the museum had decided to exhibit these works that they paid a very small fee, and just having that platform and being able to write about it and bring awareness to that audience, I thought that was rewarding. And then also there was a drone photographer in George Steinmetz in New York City. Can you guys hear me?
Just about to power.
Okay.
Okay. More problems. Our baby just woke up. Nestor's gonna get the baby. You can continue going on, yeah.
Sure. So George Steinmetz, he was flying around Hart Island documenting some of the COVID burials, and he was arrested, or not arrested, but his drone was confiscated. So I was the one to break that story and just drive awareness around how overly strict New York City laws are in regards to drones. And so having that platform, I think, just to raise awareness about certain issues has been rewarding. I got to interview Dirk Dallas about his drone book, Eyes Over the World. So that was also just interviewing people, learning about what motivates them and what their experiences are. Those are also types of articles that I like to write, as well as reviewing. So.
Okay, no problem.
Aww. How old's the baby?
He's 1.
Aww.
Yeah, he usually sleeps through the entire live streaming, but today he decided to wake up.
Oh, that's okay. I had my dog down in the basement where it's nice and cool, so because hopefully she wouldn't bark if anyone walks by, she'll bark. But she found her way out of the basement, but she's just chilling under the kitchen table now. So I think we're good. I'm talking about you, Molly. Yeah, you good girl. You're a good girl. You're a good girl, Molly. Ooh, whoa! Don't get tangled up in my cord.
So we were talking about the DP review stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So did you finish your sentence? I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I finished everything. Just the type of stuff I like to write about. I like doing interviews. I like anything that helps fight injustice or drive awareness. Those are the types of things I enjoy the most. But I pretty much enjoy everything I write, because you learn more about something and understand it more thoroughly if you write it out or if you teach it. That's always been my philosophy.
Mm-hmm. Great. So to close with our questions, what do you expect will happen in the future? What would you like in future drones?
Wow. That's a very broad question. I mean,
it could be anything. It could be like the Hasselblad color profile in more drones.
Oh,
it could
right,
be
right.
New lenses. It could be something that we can't hear, and it's so easy for people to fly without messing with other people.
Well, I'll say what I don't want. 2 things I don't want. I don't want remote ID where you broadcast your location. I just think that opens up a lot of problems. People that don't understand drone technology can harass you. I just think that's very short-sighted. It's supposed to take effect in a few years. I'm hoping that something we do have people,
delay this.
but we do have people advocating for drone flyers' rights. I hope, maybe I'm being naive, but I hope drone delivery in the sense of like Walgreens delivering you up to 5 pounds worth of toiletries or something, Amazon delivering small packages. I hope that doesn't become a thing. I think delivery trucks are just fine for most of that. I like the drone delivery use case, what Zipline does, delivering blood and life-saving supplies to people in rural areas that don't have access to a car or other motorized transportation, or people that don't have access to medicine in certain parts of the world. I think that's where drone delivery makes sense, but I don't want to see it a lot in our rural or urban areas. And I say that because then that's just going to enforce more airspace restrictions on regular pilots. So
it's going to get very busy in the sky.
Yeah. But I hope drones of the future can handle heavier payloads, better cameras. I'm thinking like micro four thirds lens. I hope the camera technology improves. If anything, I'd like a Phantom 5, like a compact drone that you can put interchangeable lenses on. I'd like at least a 1-inch optical zoom drone. That would be awesome. I think it would be great, especially for people performing inspections. And I'm hoping that these things come along the way. I'm surprised that the prosumer and professional drone space has been a little bit slower kind of to...
We can feel that too.
Yeah, innovate. But hopefully now that remote ID has been finalized, that will change. And towards the end of this year, we'll be seeing things. So.
Great. So I'm going to read a few questions from the audience.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a few. So from Jim, what I'm seeing in social media is that drone photos from the USA usually blend nature and cities, something that we can't do here in Greece, at least from my perspective. For example, we don't have large parks with woods in the middle of the town, where those orange leaves in the autumn. I love those photos. So this is not a question, it's actually something that he wanted to say.
Oh, thank you so much. Fall has become my favorite season because where I live, the foliage becomes especially vibrant during certain weeks. We call it peak foliage. And I feel lucky to live where I am. I thought when I left California, it wasn't going to be as interesting, but I think anywhere you are, now I'm in a Midwest state, but I've actually found more interesting locations and more interesting ways to capture some certain areas. I think wherever you are, if you can be imaginative, you can create something compelling. I think because that's mostly what it is too when you create art, is how am I taking maybe even a mundane scene and putting my own vision behind it and making it interesting.
So this is what we were saying earlier, to put your imagination into effect and try to do something different with what you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And from Panos Koutsis, a last question: where do you stand regarding 360 shots, the stitching to create something that looks like a sphere?
Oh yeah, so the tiny globes and stuff. I actually think they're kind of cool. I've done a few myself. It can be tricky sometimes though, depending on the foreground or the subject, like how it all stitches together. I wouldn't do it every photo, but I think every once in a while, if you can make a cool effect with it, sure, definitely do it. But yeah, if I'm following you and like everything is 360 sphere, I'll probably unfollow or mute.
And I think there was a social media network regarding 360 content, especially shot with drones. It was Veer, and I think it used to support 360
I remember
photos.
I remember
but they
that.
stopped that.
I remember that, yeah. But I mean, again, I think that it's cool to do once in a while, but you don't want to make it your signature style. Like no one's going to be known as the 360 sphere photographer. But yeah, I mean, if you throw it in there every now and then, or if you experiment with it, I think it's cool. But
Yeah, not for every photo.
Yeah, I remember
So-
that community. God, we've been around forever, haven't we?
Yeah. It's like we are too old. So,
Yeah, veterans.
I'm gonna hand over the interview to Nestoras so I can take care of the child, so we
Of
can
course.
wrap it up properly. So goodbye from me.
Mm.
It was nice
And
talking
so
to you.
I hope we can meet in person someday. Seriously.
I hope too.
We've kept in touch the whole time, all like, gosh, for years, since 2017 or something like that. So yeah, I hope.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's got the little
Aw.
guy inside the frame.
Oh, how cute! Look at him. I know. My daughter still has an 18. Oh gosh, she's almost 18 months old. A cousin. No, she is 18 months old. My daughter hasn't even met her yet, so we're kind of over these strict lockdowns. But if we're ever over in Europe, I'll look you up.
Yeah, send us anywhere.
Yeah.
When we are here,
Yeah.
you can actually text us and we can show you the best places, the best that we know.
Yeah.
So we are in Athens, if you ever come here. We are based
Absolutely.
in Athens. So I'm giving over to Nestoras. Goodbye from me.
See you later.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
All right. All right.
Just a moment. You hear me? Yeah. Yeah, I missed some of the questions, but no worries.
Oh, I think we were talking about 360 spears.
yeah, the
Pan-
question from
Oh,
Panos. Yes.
I've already
We
answered
asked
that.
all
I've
the
already
questions.
talked about that. And Nathan Asia and I were just laughing at how there used to be a community dedicated to that, but now it's no more. But that's how long we've been around.
Oh, very nice, very nice. What are your plans that you can actually talk about? Because there are lots of things that you actually can't reveal them yet.
Oh, plans that I can talk about?
Yeah, yes.
In regards to what? Just
Oh, in regards to drone filming, to anything
Oh.
very, very interesting that is about to happen.
Oh gosh. Well, I'll have to see if I can get airspace clearance, but next month I'll be in California and I'll be going back to this Air Force base. I've actually already talked to the guy who runs the control tower. But he needed more advance notice, so I couldn't do it last time. But I'd like to fly drones around some of these abandoned B-52s and airplanes. But getting clearance in restricted airspace is key in the United States. If you get caught and you don't have the proper clearance or authorization, yeah, you can get fined about at least $25,000, if not more, potentially jailed. I mean, there's a lot of things that could go bad if you don't do your due diligence. So I'm planning out, which drone I'm going to use, how I'm already familiar with the area since I took an astro shot there last month, but I'm just I'm just taking steps to plan out how I plan to shoot it, what settings, all this stuff. And then also, I have two friends coming with me, and so just seeing if they need clearance, if they want to fly, and also just figuring out. I guess there's just a lot to plan ahead, but
Yes,
that's
yes,
more of
yes.
a fun project, and I prefer my fun projects almost because I have complete creative control over them. So. That's pretty much all I have coming up, but I have a lot of different places I want to travel and pre-planned shots. I want to get more into light painting with loom cubes, so I'm exploring that.
That's what I was thinking when you mentioned that you have friends that love astrophotography.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you go
yeah.
out with them, and we've been experimenting a lot with light painting lately. But the COVID restrictions and the whole pandemic situation stopped us and delayed us a lot. but it's very, very interesting when you are out there in the night. And the drones actually do not shoot very, very nice low light footage. You can use them as moving lights. Yes, it's very,
exactly.
very
Yeah. So yeah, just, you know, going back to just expanding and trying new things. I think that's what's next on my docket. And then just writing down places, and I'm terrible at sketching, but I kind of like to sketch in my mind how something will turn out. And maybe it won't turn out like that, but at least I have some kind of blueprint for what I want. So yeah, we'll definitely see.
Thank you very, very much, Kara, for being here with us. I'm gonna wrap it up. Stay on the call. So after just for a few minutes, so we'll wrap up the live and shut it down, and I'll catch you up in a moment.
Sure, sounds good.
Here, just mute your microphone.
Sure.
Bye bye. Thank you. Χαμός, παιδιά. Συνέντευξάρα. Πρώτη μας συνέντευξη και στα αγγλικά. Πάρα πολύ σημαντικό για να μπορέσουμε να έρθουν σιγά σιγά και άλλα ονόματα και από το εξωτερικό και να δοθεί κίνητρο λιγάκι περισσότερο και στους Έλληνες. Θα προσπαθήσουμε να βάλουμε υποτιτλισμό στα ελληνικά σε όλη τη συνέντευξη, αν και είναι 1 ώρα και 16 λεπτά. Θα το τρέξουμε, δεν ξέρω πόσο σύντομα θα γίνει, οπότε κάποια στιγμή θα μπορέσετε να δείτε και με ελληνικούς υπότιτλους την συγκεκριμένη συνέντευξη και όλες τις ξένογλωσσες συνέντευξεις που θα κάνουμε στην πορεία. Απλά θέλει λίγο χρόνο, παιδιά, δεν είναι τόσο εύκολο, ώστε να μπορείτε όμως να πιάσετε κάθε τι που υπόθετε και να μην υπάρχει κάποιο πρόβλημα πάνω σε αυτό. Αυτά για την ώρα. Θα δούμε το επόμενο live τι θα μας φέρει, αν θα είναι συνέντευξη, αν θα είναι κάτι άλλο. Έχουμε κάποια πράγματα στο νου, προγραμματισμένα. Ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ, παιδιά. Καλό βράδυ. Γεια χαρά. Καληνύχτα σας. Και τα λέμε την επόμενη φορά. Bye bye.